It's At Your Own Risk, the co-pilot podcast. And I do want to apologize that it's been almost a month since my last, episode. And this is actually episode 17. And since the last episode that I did, I've been pretty busy. I've been very, very busy. I actually did the Baja 500 with David Ziegler, which I have not made an episode yet, and I promise I will. That was a fun race. And then since then, also, I do have to thank Vision Canopies. I have joined the team over at sponsored Vision Canopy Athletes, and I will be promoting them, and I will be getting a new fire suit that I hope that I think is really cool. I'm getting a lot of help from Fast Felix, and I'm just looking forward to showing that thing off. It'll be sponsored by, again, Vision Canopies, and if you guys do need canopies or flags, please go visit www.visioncanopies.com and check them out if you guys need any of those products. I just want to thank Kyle Ahrensberg for the opportunity to join their team over there of athletes, and looking forward to it. But this episode 17, is all about me racing the first ever 1,000-mile race in the United States, over 1,000-mile race in the United States in one day, that was put on by the Legacy Racing Association, and they did get a lot of help for that race. And that race, I will say, was an awesome race. It was challenging and fun at the same time. It started on June 27th and ended on June 28th for us. I think most teams actually went all the way till the following morning to finish that race. Other than the bikes, I think the bikes were able to finish it all in the same day because they started at 3 a.m. But again, that was the 2025 Legacy Racing Association Baja Nevada 1,035 miles in one day. First time it's been done in a single day. I know they have done it before where they broke it up into 2 days, but they decided to take on the challenge of doing it all in one day. And I was very fortunate to get invited to navigate for Kirk Harkey in the spec 6100 6155 truck with a very great group of guys, drivers that a lot of the teams out there seem to have a lot of very stacked drivers available to help them out in a one-day long race in this situation. We had Kirk Harkey, who owns the truck. Chuck Dempsey was another driver, and Kyle Jurgensen was also a third driver for that team. And he had Sean Shanks as his navigator. So again, I want to thank Baja Nevada. I want to thank Legacy Racing Association for the Baja Nevada. That I know at the same time, Legacy did get a lot of help from a few other organizations out there, like Vora. Thank you, Vora, for assisting in that. Bonneville, King of the Castle, and the Nevada Off-Road Association all pitched in. I know from what I heard from Donald, this was about 18 months of them trying to figure out how to orchestrate this whole thing to happen in one day in Nevada for a 1,000-mile plus race all in one day. I got to thank all the people from all these organizations, especially Donald and his team at Legacy for putting on the event and making it a very good, event that I can see, and just the other organizations that helped them. Thank you for making it an awesome event. One of the things that I will say right out of the gate was, and this is not in any way to put down what great job the Legacy did of marking the ribbons, all the stakes and everything. One of the things that I do think as a navigator myself, for the safety of all, I think the map could have been done a little bit better with a little bit more uh, information on it as far as the line itself, which I know from talking to a lot of other navigators out there, there was concern as far as to how detailed the lines were in the map that we were seeing. And I know from just the stuff that some of these navigators are used to, and I know a lot of them run, score series and other series in Mexico where we can go pre-running. You get an opportunity to actually lay down a more sophisticated line of running, and whether there's a jog in the road or something else like that, that just gives those teams an opportunity to map things out a little quicker for them and safer. So that's the only thing I can say about that. As far as I know, some guys were messaging me before the race as far as how I was going to make it detailed, and I tried to, but in the end, it was just a matter of me just making more notes to myself to know where I was going to be at and where I needed to watch out for things. So I was hoping that I was going to be able to make something to send out to some people and help them out, make sure that it kept them out of trouble. But unfortunately, that just wasn't going to happen with the limited time that we had. The map was released on Monday. The race was on Friday, so it was a lot of stuff to break down just before the race. So, I don't feel I didn't have any issues, and I'm not. Again, I'm not a professional or anything. Don't take my advice on anything. I'm just doing what I do for fun. But there was the map could have been better, and I'm sure Donald heard plenty of it that it could have just been done more. But there was a lot of work. I mean, it's just nature of the beast. You prepare yourself. I think, um, I hate to say it, you're going to put a lot of trust in a navigator that you're putting in that seat just to make sure they're going to do the right thing, whether it's putting the right amount of time or going over things. I mean, I don't know. It's just my personal opinion. There is work to be done, and sometimes as a navigator, if you want to take it seriously, you better do the work just to keep everybody safe. So again, I think they did a good job. One of the things that I will say is that the map obviously could have been a better line. I will say when it comes to the markings out on the course itself, phenomenal, great. I mean, there was stakes, there was everything you needed out there as far as to if you're the navigator reading the terrain and what every piece of paper out there that's on the stake means. If you were reading it out and knowing what was coming, you should have been okay. But again, you can still get into trouble and doze off and anything like that. But again, great job to the Legacy Racing Association and all of those involved. I think it was an awesome event. Definitely a lot of people finished. I think probably more than expected, but I think it was a great event to top it off. So, but with that, I will jump into what the team I was with. I was obviously with Kirk Harkey in the 6155 6100 spec trophy truck, the Brenthel truck, and I was originally called on to do 300 miles of this race, which I was going to jump in at about mile 200 ish and run it for about 300 miles, then get out and hand it over to Kyle Jurgensen and Sean Shanks. And plans changed. So I think Thursday or Wednesday. I think Wednesday, I was called and said, "Hey, your plans are going to change. You're going to start, and you're going to go all the way to about pit 12, which was like I think 470, which I was fine with. And things like that do happen, so you got to be ready and prepared for anything that comes your way, especially if you're going to be navigating for any team. I think you're ready, prepared, and that's one of the things I always think of is you got to be ready and prepared for anything. I mean, whatever comes your way, you're going to do, even if it's less, then it's less. But I think as someone who takes it seriously and has fun with it, definitely always look to be ready to whatever you're going to be asked of to do, because um, that's kind of I think it comes with the role. That's just my opinion. So anyway, so I end up going from the start to what we're going to do is change at pit 12. Obviously, as the race goes and things change, the desert can be very unforgiving, and you just never know what's going to happen to any vehicle or your vehicle or anything else in that situation at any moment. So we took off at the start. We started at 8:56 a.m. is when we took off. I took off with Kirk Harkey, who was going to do the first 200 miles and get out at where was he getting out at? I know I wrote it down here somewhere. So he got out at mile 192, which I think it was pit 5. I thought I had written it down, but I didn't. So anyway, he gets out. We go from the start at 8:56, and we really had no issues. We were running great. Past a couple vehicles that were changing tires or other stuff, other issues they were fixing. So we got around some trucks, and we got to that pit where Chuck Dempsey was going to get in, and we were gonna race till pit 12. About 4:68 is, I think, was the marker there, and we took off. Everything was good. Nobody behind us. We could see dust ahead of us. We were chasing down some trucks. Chuck was doing great, and then we ended up getting our first flat during around mile marker 225, a little after the pit we left. And actually, that was pit 10. No, that wasn't pit 10. I don't remember now, but it was yeah, it was mile marker anyway. So we ended up getting a flat. So we changed that pretty quickly. I think maybe one or two vehicles got by us. We got back on the course, and after that, we started having some steering issues. The steering would lock up when Chuck would go to the left. The steering would lock up just sporadically. Even when we were going on a straightaway, it would still lock up. And at one point, I was trying to remember what pit it was. Um, but at one point, we got through a really tight section where we were in somebody's dust, and it was very tight, hard left turns, almost tight hairpin left turns. And the situation and the issue would only come up when we were turning left. When we were turning a hard, sharp right or anything like the hairpin right, it wasn't having any problems. But when you would do a hairpin left, was when we were having issues. And unfortunately for us, at somewhere during that section, we were coming up to a hairpin left, and the steering locked up, and we couldn't turn. The truck kind of started going straight, and just so we couldn't avoid obviously going over a cliff, Chuck backed up, and when we backed up, man, we got smacked hard by the next truck that was coming behind us. I know that was not meant. Obviously, they're obviously trying to get around trucks as bad as we wanted to, but we ended up getting hit pretty hard. Luckily, all our safety equipment did its job. The back of the truck did get some broken, tubing. Some of the stuff broke in the back. Luckily, we didn't lose any tires or jack or anything like that. But that was a hard smack. Probably one of the hardest smacks I've been in those trucks. And it rocked us. I remember Chuck saying he got a headache right after we got, hit from behind that hard. And I'm sure us backing up and them coming at us didn't help the situation, but we were trying to do our best as far as for safety to make sure we didn't go off the cliff. So we backed up as quickly as we could. Unfortunately, there was a truck coming. They did get around. They did get around us, and just kept going. I think it was a Fox truck, and apologize to those guys for that. But really, we were just in a bad situation, trying to do the best we could. We just kept. Once we did that, the situation kept. It just never went away. The steering situation did not go away. Um, and that makes it interesting when you're sitting in the passenger seat and your driver is telling you to hold on because the steering's locked up, or making a little more noise than normal during the situation is a little intense. But hey, that's part of racing. You deal with the adversity and the challenges that come with it, knowing full well that those things can happen. So we kept going, and we were coming up to, I think, around Tonopah, which is the pit 9 on the way up, and the whole Brenthal crew was there, and we radioed in saying we had a steering issue. They had plenty of parts there as far as what component they needed to replace. And they decided that was a good spot if we were going to fix the steering issue, to hand it off to Kyle Jurgensen at Pet 12. We just, figured that was going to be our best bet of what to do next, in order to keep us in the hunt for, anything as far as even just finishing the race. We were going to have to fix that problem, knowing that those guys were going to go into the night with a steering issue, and that's not fun. I know how nerve wracking it can be, and so I was kind of glad to hear that they were going to assess the situation there at Pit 9 and fix it. So we stayed there at Pit 9. Kyle was going to get in at Pit 12, Kyle and Sean, and they decided to come down to Pit 10 and just wait for us there and get into the truck quicker, and start to see what they could do, and run down a couple more trucks that we were still in a good position. So we hand that truck off. They fixed it at Pit 9, which was, what was Pit 9? I didn't write the mileage, but so but Kyle Jurgensen and Sean Shanks are waiting at Pit 10, which was mile marker 408, and we get it to them. The Brenthal guys did a freaking awesome job. Fixed everything, fixed the issue. We get me and Chuck get back in the truck, and we didn't have any more issues. The steering was gone. It was night and day truck, especially riding in it and knowing that the driver is really, manhandling that truck into what it can do. Makes it a lot of fun. When you have a nice working truck, it's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice thrill to be moving fast and not having to worry about the steering locking up and you going over a corner. That makes it a ton of fun. So, just talking to Chuck through that, and I could tell, in there, I told him, I said, man, this is a whole new truck, and I'm sure it's got to feel great for you. And yeah, he agreed. It's a different feeling when you have a good working truck. So we get it to Pit 10, which was mile marker 408. So my job was done. I had done it from the start all the way to 408. And we were pretty much under the assumption that from 408, Kyle and Sean were going to take it to the finish line. And then we were just going to chase them and make sure everything was going good. So they get back in the truck, and, steering's working fine. And I think about just before pit 18 or 19, and we were going to go to 21 after that to wait for them there, and at around Tonopah, we had stopped to get gas and a couple other things on the way back down. We actually caught them on the radio just before or a little bit after pit 18, and we come to find out that the steering issue has come back, and they're still having problems with it. So at pit 19, that was pretty far for us to go from Tonopah to pit 19. We weren't going to make it before they got there. And unfortunately, for Kyle Jurgensen, he must have had a stomach bug or something, must have ate something, which I heard there was two other drivers that I heard at the start that weren't going to start because they too were having stomach issues. So I don't know where these people ate in Tonopah or what, but or not in Tonopah, Pahrump. That's where the start was at. I don't know what people ate there, but there were some people that were having, I guess, something they ate somewhere in that town or the water. I don't know, but there were some people that got sick, and so they weren't starting. But then Kyle and Sean radioed that they were ready to get out at pit 19, which we were not there. We weren't going to make it there in time, and they were having the steering issue again. Steering issue was back, and we were going to have to figure out something with the steering. So we tell both of them that they need to do their best. The best thing we can do is have me and Chuck at pit 20 and get ready to change there, and then us take it to the finish line from there, which would be pit 20 was at race mile 791. So we would go from 791 all the way to the finish at 1,035 miles. So, we waited for them at pit 20, and when they pulled in, took the truck apart again, took the hood off, and we found out that there was a line that was leaking. It had a small pin leak in one of the lines, and so started fixing, or we started a radio Brenthel teams that were around, that if we had that hose. So took the guys maybe about 20 minutes to get there. They found a line that we needed for the truck, got to work on it, replaced it, and we were back on the road. Me and Chuck were back on the road, I think about 2:30, 2:35, maybe 2:40, somewhere around there. And we jumped back in knowing that we were going to go all night and into the sunrise. As far as I was concerned, I was, I was ready to do whatever I needed to do. Luckily, I had been resting ever since I had gotten out of the truck, just knowing that those situations may arise and something may go wrong with a driver, navigator, who knows. So, so I just prepared myself for that reason. I'm glad I did. And so we end up, the Brenthel guys end up fixing the line, putting more fluid in it, getting it all fixed and ready to go. Me and Chuck jump in, and we start going to the finish line. It was, like I said, it was still dark. It was about 2:30. Luckily, I was rested, and we took off. And I'm going to say we went at least maybe another 200 miles, maybe at about mile 900, a little bit after that. And we started getting the issue again. Once we would go left, it was starting to lock up again on tight turns. And there's really nothing else we could do. Chuck was just going to have to do his best to get it to the finish line the way it was, and maybe start pumping some iron next time he's out of the truck and hits the gym. So just in case that happens again. So he, we did the best we could with the truck at the time, and we're going, and the sun starts to come up, And that's when I started to realize it's been a long day for me. I had done, like the morning, rested, and then got back in. So I got to do a total of 652 miles of this 1,035 mile race, and got that first flat tire at around mile 225, and then with about 17 miles to go, where the rock garden, well, there's a nasty rock garden before you get into Pahrump, that I've raced before, and I knew that section was coming. We end up we're going perfectly fine, and next thing we know, with 17 miles to go to the finish, we just hear a loud pop, and there was no rock or anything that was in the middle of the road that we had hit. It just was a wheel that gave out. It had just had enough, and it literally just popped. The other thing, once we took the tire off, the rotor was disintegrated as well. It was gone, and it had ripped a brake line. The right rear brake line had been ripped off. The rotor was in pieces, and there was no wheel there either. It was in pieces as well. We changed the tire, put the tire back on, and we capped off the brake line. And with only 17 miles, we limped it back in, to the finish with on those 17 miles with three wheels, brakes. Luckily, we knew there wasn't any big cliffs or anything like we needed to worry about. Just the more rocks through that section, and we got through that and pretty easily. It actually felt like the longest 17 miles I've ever done in my life. It was it's just, you want to be going fast like you were, but you had to be more, you just had to be careful that you didn't bust another wheel and another rotor, and who knows what else could happen. So we and we were still had the steering issue still. When we would turn left, it was still locking up. So we did the best we could to limp it in, and out of qualifying, the team had qualified in 18th. We ended up finishing in 15th out of 22 spec 6100 trucks that started, and it took us 21 hours, 45 minutes, and 45 seconds to finish 1,035 miles of the Baja Nevada Legacy Racing Association race. So it was a long day. It was a very, very long day. I think kudos to the Brenthel team for doing everything they could to keep that truck running and moving, and repairing it every single time it needed to have something. They had the part, so I can say that those guys are very well prepared. They they had what we needed, and just got us to the finish line. I will say, on my personal experience as far as a navigator, having the experience of starting, going to mile 408 at pit 10, and then getting out, getting some rest, some food, and everything else, and then being ready back at pit 20, which was mile marker 791, to the finish. That was my biggest concern, was that I wanted to get the race car, the race team, to the finish line of the first ever 1,000 mile plus race in the United States. And that was one of my biggest goals in my head, was to get this team to the finish line the best as I could, knowing that we had the equipment to get us there. So, that was fun. Obviously, the stuff that got fixed and changed out at pit 9 by the guys, and then the team changing the steering hose at pit 20 and keeping us all safe in a safe truck. Was just awesome. What other? Let me see. I know I got out at mile 408, which was pit 10. It was around 6:10 p.m. And I had started at what did I say in the beginning of this? I know I wrote it down somewhere here, but um, I forget now. But I think it was 8:56 when we started, or 8:50 something. I know I wrote it down somewhere. Where did I write it down? Yeah, 8:56 a.m. is when I started, and then I got out at race mile marker 408, which was pit 10, at around 6:10 p.m. And then I got back in for the last section at mile marker uh, at pit 20, which was mile marker 791, and made it to the finish, which was the last 244 miles of that race. And that was at 6:45 a.m. in the morning Saturday. By the time I got there, yeah, I was tired. I was excited though. I was excited that we finished that long of a race, and I got an opportunity to run that many miles. I think um, I hated it for Kyle Jurgensen that he wasn't feeling well and had to think better for his health and obviously the safety of him and his navigator Sean. Those have got to be some tough calls to make because I know I haven't had to yet. Knock on wood. I haven't had to make a call yet where I was too sick or anything to get out of a vehicle. Luckily, I've never gotten car sick or anything else in any car over the last 15 years. So I thank God for that. That I'm so fortunate to um, be able to just keep going at it. So so we made it to the finish line, 6:45 a.m. and all we had was two flats, and the broken wheel or rotor and the brake line that we had to fix, and then the guys fixing all that other stuff. But overall, we kept pushing. We kept, we knew we wanted to finish that race, so I was very happy that everything was being done to grant us that opportunity to finish that kind of a race. So um, again, I think kudos to Legacy for putting on an awesome race. I do have to thank again Kirk Harkey for the opportunity racing with OFB Racing and being a part of it. And Chuck Dempsey's awesome. He drives the heck out of that truck. It's a lot of fun to be in there with him and be given the opportunity to navigate someone with such experience, and just looking forward to the next race, whenever that may be. But overall, like I said before, just the opportunity to do 652 miles of that race was pretty cool. Again, I felt bad for the other guys that had to get out, which I could tell from talking to them. They wanted to be able to keep going, but it just wasn't going to happen. And I think overall, from what I've heard of, or been seeing, some people had some issues out there with some broken vehicles, but some of them very badly busted vehicles. But luckily, I haven't heard that anybody got seriously hurt. I know there was a section, I can't even remember where it was, that in all my years of racing in Nevada, I had not raced this particular section, and it was super massively rocky. I mean, there's been some rocky stuff out there, but this one had uh, big, big boulders, like probably the size of refrigerators. Um, and as we were going through that section, I remember there was one truck that had been, I don't know how it flipped, but it had all its wheels torn off, like front wheels torn off, arms. And the guys were luckily standing outside, because we slowed down to make sure everybody was okay. The guys were out of the truck, standing. But man, that was a gnarly section. I don't know. I wish I could remember what section it was at like particular mileage, but man, it was nasty. It was nasty, and um, it was definitely a challenge to navigate through that stuff, and making sure you weren't going to hit a big rock. I mean, I remember one point we drove by the middle of what seemed, there was two rocks, and there was one to the right on my side, and we went, kind of full speed through it. And I looked over at the corner, and yeah, there was like a refrigerator sized rock on my right side. And I just tell Chuck, I'm like, dude, did you see the size of that rock? And he's all, nope, I was going too fast. So, um, I'm telling you, that was a tough section. But overall, the course was, like I said in the beginning, the course was very well marked. If you're a navigator and you're reading the markers that are out there, you should be safe. You should be very safe if you're reading the markers. Yeah, I know there's, should be on the map and all that stuff, but you gotta use every single thing out there to help you navigate and keep you and your driver safe. Again, I'm not a professional. This is not like I'm telling everybody how they should do it. I'm just telling you my own personal experiences, my own, what I've done, and do not take this in any way as as like I'm telling everybody how they should be doing things. No, everybody has their own way. This is my way. I like to, talk about it on this podcast of what we did, what happened, how we did it, things that can be done better. Um, Again, which I think the line on a map could have been the line on the maps on the GPS could have been a lot cleaner. Yes, I say, yeah, they could have been. But then what kind of work does that make your navigator do? I guess maybe it makes it easier for them. But again, I think in many situations, and this I'll just get on my soapbox on this one. Um, I think that if you're racing, I don't care what you're racing. If you're racing, class 11, 1600, UTV, when you go out there, I think the best thing you can do for you and your team and the safety of everyone is get someone that's knowledgeable, get somebody that knows what they're doing, get somebody that takes it serious, get someone that wants to take it serious and wants that opportunity to do it right. Because I think when you do that, you exponentially, you know, make the chances of you having a safe and a good result of the race in your favor. So I think getting someone with experience or that wants to learn to have the experience is invaluable. It's very valuable. It's got to be a thing that you take into consideration when you are looking for a navigator, somebody to be in the seat with you and get you to the finish line. So, but that's just me. Like, what do I know? Um, I've only been doing it for 15 years. So, um, again, the whole experience was fun. I look forward to the next race. And again, like I said in the beginning, I still have to talk about the Baja 500 that I did a while back. And I will do that. Um, and just I got to thank Kirk in the Recycle Wise spec truck for giving me the opportunity to race with him and be a part of that team. It's I know how incredibly um, um, blessed I am for that opportunity. Those things don't come all the time, and I don't take it for granted. I know that I feel that I've put in the time, that I've done the work, and that I take it seriously enough to be granted those opportunities. I think I have fun with it, and I take it seriously. So, um, pretty much that's it. That's all I got to say about the race and everything else that went with it. I had a blast with Chuck. Those two sections that we had to do. It was a lot of fun, and I'm just glad we could laugh at some of the stuff in there when he was when he knew he was in trouble in some of those corners and the steering was locking up. Um, he was definitely keeping me awake, um, and just made it very interesting. Not that I wanted it to be interesting, but it was. And again, one thing I do have to do is I have to thank God for Him giving me the opportunities, again, the talent to do what I do, the blessings that He showers me with, and just everything else, the people that He surrounds me, gives me the opportunity to surround myself with. I know that none of it is possible without faith in God. As far as for me, I really am so grateful for those opportunities, and the biggest one of all is for keeping me safe, mile after mile after mile of racing. I know I had done the math before this race, and I have already raced, what was it, 2,798 miles, I think is what it was, of so far this year. Yes, 2,798 race miles in a co-pilot seat. Now you add another 652 miles to that, and that is going to be 652 plus 27. I'm horrible at math, so bear with me here. That's a total of 3,450 miles this year that I've been very blessed to be able to navigate in off-road races this year alone. In what is it, 6 months? Yeah, 6 months. So again, I'm like, I put my faith in God that He puts me where He needs me, with the talents that He's given me, and with the right people, and keeping me safe for 3,450 miles of racing. And I know that anything can happen at any situation. I'm not, you know, I'm like thinking like, oh, it just can't happen. Yeah, it can. But I have faith that I am always put where I am needed, where God needs me, and where He's going to send me. If He did, I have faith that He will prevent me going somewhere if it's just not my time. So, but that's just me. Again, I'm very, very blessed for all the opportunities and all the people and everyone I meet and everyone I interact with. I love talking to everybody at the races, and those that tell me that they actually listen to this, that they have fun listening to it, and that they hope I continue. So you're the reason. If you talk to me at one of those events and tell me how much you love listening to this, you're the reason why it's still going, because you keep telling me that. Oh yeah, I love it. Like, it's like, well, if you keep telling me that, I'm gonna keep believing it. That you're like, yeah, oh yeah, well, people are listening. So anyway, that's just me talking. I do appreciate everything that everybody does. Thank God for everybody being safe, getting home, and all of those teams that finished the race. Congratulations. That goes without saying. Congratulations to every single individual team and everybody that made it to the finish line of the 2025 Baja Nevada Legacy Racing Association off-road race, because you deserve it. Yeah, it was a very hard fought battle, and there was a lot of stuff out there that can go wrong. And but that's it. I'm sure you guys are sick and tired of listening to me about dumb things, and that has nothing to do with the race. But anyway, I'll do another one of the Baja 500 that I've already skipped, and apologize for that. And last thing I want to say is, again, I want to thank Vision Canopies for their trust in me and being, just bringing me on board to be a part of the athletes over at Vision Canopies. I look forward to that, and that's pretty much all I got. So again, thank you for listening and putting on with this. And if you keep encouraging me, I'm gonna keep doing it. So Again, have a great week. I'll talk to you guys later.